Hi, everybody. My name is Maria, and I'm so excited to be back here for our very last interview. And we have a very special guest, our very own Father Dave Ayotte from St. Monica's. And I have a little brief bio here. Father Dave Ayotte is one of our associate pastors and residents here at St. Monica. After emigrating from Canada when he was 4, Father Dave's family settled in eastern Los Angeles, where he attended Bishop Amat Memorial High School, where he later returned as a teaching position in the religious department. He worked extensively with the Jesuits as a diocesan priest, on top of years of experience dedicated to scholarship. He has literally been all over the world living his vocation from Los Angeles to Rome and to various countries throughout Africa. We are truly blessed to have Father Dave with us today.
Thanks, Maria. It's good to be here and good to be talking with some of our young adults and youth teens and others just in confirmation program or others. It's just great to be with you guys.
Thank you, Father Dave. So the first question we have here is, the theme of this confirmation sprint is restlessness, longing, and spiritual centeredness. Why do you think this is an important topic for teens to think about?
I think it's important for teens and it's also important for anybody who wants to be Christian. Uh, Restlessness, sometimes it's a movement inside of us for something more. And when we get into a place that we're uncomfortable with deeper feelings inside of ourselves, we can become restless. And the great spiritual masters would talk about restlessness as sometimes this feeling is when we started hitting something deeper, we became afraid and we wanted to run to a lot of other things. I'll give an example. Um, when I was first seeing some of the extreme poverty in Africa in the slums, like Kibera, um, I didn't want to see it.
Mm.
What I saw, I had seen, and I wanted to try to avoid it. So I became restless and I became hyperactive in everything else because I didn't want to say, my gosh, those people are right here. And now I can get on a plane and then get out of here. So restlessness can sometimes be an irritation that's going on to say, God's pulling us to a deeper place to say, I want you to meet me in a different way. When things are a little bit more uncomfortable, and it's an invitation to go deeper. And the restlessness is we want to do everything else, then go deeper. We don't want to look at the feelings. And so it's really easy to grab onto things that keep us shallow. I'll always tell the jokes, or someone starts crying and you just avoid it. Okay, when something's a little bit deeper. Um, so I think it's super important for teens because sometimes we can stay wherever we're at, just at a certain level with our friends, and we don't want to go to a little bit deeper place that might touch something that's much more significant. So just stop there.
I love that restlessness as an invitation to go deeper. That
Right.
is, that just really sums it up. And we've spoken before about of our experiences in Africa, especially. That's such a tangible um, anecdote, and so that kind of leads us into the next question. Can you think of an anecdote from your life about a time you were restless or longing, and then what did you do about it, or an anecdote about someone else close to you?
Uh, well, I have one that's pretty personal right now because of the going through the pancreatic cancer right now. Um, I'm normally a super hyperactive, overly focused person on tons of 50 projects at the same time, and the cancer has forced me to not do much. That's really pissed me off. And so what's happened is that it's actually slowed. It forced me to slow down. Literally, I have chemo on Tuesdays, every Tuesday for the next 2 years. And then on Thursday, I'm wiped out. I'm just so tired, I can barely walk up a flight of stairs. And what is it's forced me to do is in the slowing down is Christ has literally stepped into my room and said, I don't want you to do the work. I don't want you to be a slave that you have to be working all the time and think that's what I want you to be as a slave of just work, 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 work. And he says, let's just be together. And I said, no, Jesus, I'd rather do projects. They're much more interesting than a conversation with you. But what's happened is my restlessness was because God actually wants a conversation with me. And I'm getting bored with God. And he says, just come and sit with me. I want to do something deeper with you. So he's stripping away things that I'm used to doing to avoid a deeper conversation. And he's also showing me a way that he loves me even if I can't do my projects. In other words, trying to prove myself or do things. And we can do that too in our schoolwork, our sports programs. What are we trying to prove ourselves to? Show to the rest of the world that we're just phenomenal. And God simply says, no, just want to be with you. And so, at least in my own story right now, the cancer has been something that's just slowing me down, not even a choice. It's almost like God is saying, I'm forcing you into friendship with me. And I'm grateful for it, but I'm also in an argument with God about it. And it's a good argument. Sometimes to enter into the space where, what's this restlessness about? What are my feelings that I'm not comfortable with? Whereas I feel awkward or uncomfortable, and in the sense of, as people starts touching these deeper places, it's good. Good in
Thank
the
you,
sense
Father Dave, for sharing such a personal story to you and being vulnerable for us so that we can relate to you. We all have our different stories and what we're restless with. Hear you speak on that too is so wonderful so that we can relate to you also. Um, you kind of touched upon this already, but we want to go deeper into this with this last question. Many of us perceive you as being very centered or calm in the middle of all this flurry. How did you get there? And what are practices or habits that help you to be centered? And would those work for a teen?
First of all, it's a front. I'm not calm. I'm not collected. It's just you like a mask. I'm usually pretty space case. But there are some practices that help me get centered, which is I take time each day for prayer, about an hour each day at least, and then try to do some time in the evening that I do that as well. It helps me a lot. Christ talks with me, not just I'm talking to him saying what I need.
Mhm.
Christ talks and says, okay, slow down, be here, stay with me, don't be afraid. Um, so Christ, those things. Prayer does that. The Mass helps me an awful lot. A couple of key friends help me to stay centered. Like I have a few friends, one friend that's goes back to when we were in high school together. So that's 45 years. And there's my sister and my mom, real close to. But a couple of those key friends, I have 3 hiking buddies that we do hiking, like we take a week off and we just go hiking together. I'll do that in a couple of weeks right now. Those people help me stay centered and focused on listening to God and in my own prayer. Those help me an awful lot. But as for the calmness, no, I might appear calm to people, but if you were to get inside of my head, you say, "What a storm! It's a storm." Okay.
Thank you for your honesty, Father Dave, because I know a lot of, including myself, I'm like, how does Father Dave do it? But to hear your honesty about that, it's refreshing because I mean we're all human. We can't always keep it together. So I think especially you sharing about finding Christ in others and besides prayer and the mass, which are obviously important things, but finding Christ through others is such a powerful thing that we have all at our availability. And so likewise to you, Father Dave, to me personally and to so many people here at the parish and people listening, you are also that person too, as we know
Thanks, Marie.
you in the your role at St. Monica's. So thank you, Father Dave. Any last words or comments for the teens?
No, I just, you guys are in my prayers. Pray for me too. If you want to be with someone who's also restless and yet trying to be calm, greet me. Come on over and say hi and stuff like this. Keep me in your prayers. And if any of you got any a desire to just send me a note, I might not get it back a response to you in the email or anything like that same day, but I'll try to be within the next 24 hours after you send a note. Your thoughts, your experience is super important. And so always know that Christ won't let you go. He's beside you through the storms, restlessness, and even when you're quiet, God's there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Father Dave.
Thanks, Maria.